a big move, Norway has decided to recognize Palestine as a state. Prime Minister Jonas Gahr said on Wednesday that there cannot be peace in the Middle East if there is no recognition. Jonas said the Scandinavian country will recognize a Palestinian state as of 28th of May. Ireland and Spain are also expected to reveal plans to formally recognize Palestine as a state, some reports suggest. In the recent past, several European Union countries have indicated that they plan to recognize Palestine as a state. Their argument is that a two-state solution is essential for lasting peace in the region. Norway has been an ardent supporter of a two-state solution between Israel and Palestine. Remember, Norway is not a member of the European Union, but mirrors its moves. Several European member states are expected to recognize Palestinian statehood by the end of May. The expected date is 28th of May. Meanwhile, the Israeli foreign minister has ordered the immediate recall of ambassadors from Ireland and Norway for consultations against the backdrop of the country's decision to recognize Palestine. And now here's a look at the countries who are for and against the Palestinian statehood. They're in fact countries for Palestinian statehood, if we have to speak about: Spain, Ireland, Belgium, Malta, Slovenia. Since 1988, 139 out of 193 UN member states have recognized Palestinian statehood. Among the G20, 10 countries: Argentina, Brazil, China, India, Indonesia, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa and Turkey have recognized Palestine as a state. Meanwhile, let's now in fact talk about countries against Palestinian statehood. While 9 countries, Australia, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, South Korea and the United Kingdom and the United States have not recognized the state of Palestine. In fact, my colleague Kabir Naqvi joins us live from the newsroom on more on this. Kabir, Ireland, Spain and Norway are expected to announce plans to formally recognize a Palestinian state. Now, these 3 nations have been vociferously criticizing Israel's campaign in Gaza. How significant is this development?
It certainly is a very significant development, Neha, given the fact that we've seen Israel's onslaught on Gaza over the last 8 months now. We've seen how important a role Iran plays in the geopolitics of that West Asian conflict area. And of course, Ibrahim Raisi, the president of Iran, well, he met in that chopper accident, the fatal, gruesome chopper accident, which has now gotten the entire region shifting for who's going to get the next power. Meanwhile, this is what we're picking up. Norway has now recognized Palestine, and you rightly pointed out, the Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre, he was quite, vocal about the fact that there can't be any peace until unless you go ahead and actually end up recognizing the state of Palestine. Be it a two-state theory or not, well, we'll have to wait and find out. But at the moment, this is what we're picking up. Norway has, in fact, recognized Palestine as a proper state. Now, several EU countries have in the past, like you mentioned as well, have supported Palestine and not supported Palestine. There are countries on both sides of the divide. But the biggest development that we're tracking at the moment is that, just for context for our viewers, Sweden, another European country, had officially recognized Palestine back in 2014. Now, Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre, he said that Norway's recognition of Palestine state comes more than 30 years after the first Oslo Agreement was signed in 1993. Oslo Agreement is one of those major agreements between Israel and Palestine and the entire conflict in West Asia. Now, the Scandinavian country will therefore regard Palestine as an independent state with all the rights and obligations that entails. Another comment by the Prime Minister of Norway. Settler violence has been one of the key focal points as well. We know what's happening in the Old City. We know what's happening near Jerusalem, the West Bank area, and the settler violence over there. The Prime Minister of Norway even goes on to say that the war in Gaza and the constant expansion of illegal settlements in the West Bank still mean that the situation in Palestine is more than difficult than it has been determined or seen for decades now. Now, I told you about Sweden. You spoke about the three nations, Ireland, Spain, and Norway. Take a look at this, Neha. This just in, and this is the big news that we're tracking at the moment, is because Ireland and Spain, shortly after Norway recognized Palestine, have gone on and recognized Palestine as a complete state. Norway, Ireland, and Spain recognized Palestine state in a historic move. These three nations have recognized Palestine state on Wednesday in a historic move that drew condemnation from Israel and jubilation from the Palestinians. Israel ordered back its ambassadors from Norway and Ireland. This goes on to show, and to answer your question about how big a development this is, Israel has gone on and called back its ambassadors from Ireland and Norway as well. Even as Spain is the third country, after Norway shortly, Spain and Ireland have gone on to recognize Palestine as a full-blown state. Imagine all of this is happening even as Tehran, Qom, Mashhad, Tabriz, they're all mourning the death and demise of the president of Iran, Ibrahim Raisi. Neha.
Right. Kabir, is a two-state solution, still even remotely possible given the events of the 7th of October and, the growing obstinance of Netanyahu and his supporters against the very idea of a Palestinian state? Netanyahu, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, outrightly called the two-state solution a mistake.
Well, that's because it doesn't work out for Israel. That's why you would expect somebody like Benjamin Netanyahu to go against the two-state solution. Even if a two-state solution is to exist, Israel would want its complete control over the area, not just losing out on what it has been building in the West Bank area, the settler violence that we've been talking about, the Dome Mount, the actual place of worship in the old city in Jerusalem. Not just that, Israel wants to keep more control. It does not want to let go of all that it has achieved in terms of what it says is cleaning out the Gaza Strip and violence in the Gaza Strip as well, Neha. This is not the first time. I mean, the level of atrocities this time and the widening of humanitarian catastrophe is actually, horrible. We've all seen it. There's a line that has been crossed. The International Criminal Court of Justice in The Hague has issued warrants. South Africa has supported it. United States Senator Bernie Sanders has supported it. Several other nations have also come out in support of that. Now, just to tell the viewers of what the two-state solution actually is. The two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict proposes to resolve the conflict between Israel and Palestine by establishing two-nation states. So you've got Israel and then you will have Palestine. This is something that Israel does not want to happen. But take a look at this. The Israeli foreign ministers have called back the ambassadors from Norway and Ireland. This is happening when Ibrahim Raisi's funeral procession is taking place. We don't know who's going to succeed him, who's going to be the next, power hand in Iran as well. Ayatollah Khamenei is 85 years old. How will United States react? How will United Kingdom react? There are several sanctions at play. We'll have to wait and find out. Israel does not want a two-state solution, but is it far from what it was before? Well, not so anymore, Neha, because take a look at this. Norway, Spain, Ireland, all these nations have come out and recognized Palestine as a proper nation. So a two-state solution, not from Israel's point of view, it does not look very far away.